In case you missed the last episode, I woke up in a public park in Utah next to this guy, Richard, who is one of my viewers from YouTube and joined me from Tennessee. And after the girls I was riding with the day before decided to go to Sturgis, we rolled north into Wyoming and Idaho and up to a small town in Idaho called Victor, just outside of Victor in the National Forest. Pretty cool couple of days there. After a brief check on the girls to see if they'd changed their panties, we rolled back into Utah and then turned north to ride through the canyons and the mountains of northern Utah before entering into the desert region of western Wyoming. It was a magnificent day, lots of good riding. The weather was hard to beat, and the scenery was pretty spectacular. As we crossed over the Tetons from Wyoming into Idaho, I started prodding some of the turnouts, especially the ones by the river, trying to find us a place to camp for the night. The weather was moving in, it was getting dark, and the sun was moving behind the overcast sky. And it was much easier for me to get in here and not have Richard follow me in there with the Harley and have two bikes to turn around. So I did this quite a few times just because it's easier. My bike is a little bit more agile and I have both my legs, so that made it a lot easier to turn around. And here's another little turnout here across this bridge. I saw it coming in but couldn't get a good look at it without getting over on this side of the road. But yeah, lots of these little turnouts and all of them turned out to be duds. No real place to hang. A lot of these didn't have a place to get out of the road, much less trees to hang from. But I also wound up prodding a couple of campgrounds as we got down to the bottom of the hill. I know, campgrounds, right? And if you watch my channel for any length of time, you know how despising I am of campgrounds in general, and these two in particular. $20 a night for a vault toilet. And the ability to sleep on the ground just did not make any kind of sense to me. And I'm not a big fan of the people that show up in the campgrounds. It's a bunch of novices, and that's just not my thing. I don't like loud people. I don't like barking dogs and screaming kids and loud radios. So I would keep my money in my pocket and force Richard to ride along with me until we found a nice spot out in the woods, which is what we did not too far from here. So we are 4 miles outside of Victor, Idaho, just outside on the creek in the National Forest. Victor's a cute little, very small, touristy kind of town. Gathering in the 4 o'clock shower. And this time they pretty much said 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, that's when the weather's coming in, it spiked, and sure enough, here it came. It was a pretty nice day before then. Mostly overcast till we got to camp, and then it was nice and sunny, and we both started doubting the predictions, but here it comes, right between 4 and 5. And it's just a sprinkle. Probably that's all we'll get today, but we'll see. But that's not all, folks.
You're going to carry every bit of that weight.
So we're talking about tents and stands.
Right.
And that, you know, the people that talk about you can't take a hammock everywhere where there's not trees. Well, you can take the tents and stand. But if you're going to do that, why not just go to the ground? A whole lot lighter.
Exactly.
We got answers for everybody if they just freaking listen to us, right?
Hey,
we have all the answers.
I absolutely have the answers.
And you're drinking Grand Teton, and I'm drinking Grand Teton. Let's see. No, I'm drinking something else.
No, you drink. Oh yeah, you're drinking
a Middle Fork. No, it's Grand Teton.
Yeah, it's a hazy IPA, and
yeah,
I got
hazy
the juicy
IPA. This
IPA.
is delicious. I think I prefer this to that. But
really, because I
you want
looked
one?
at that one. Maybe we'll swap back one.
This
is the one you were drinking at the store. This is the one you were drinking at the store. I thought it was pretty good.
We drank a 6-pack while we're sitting outside the grocery store.
We did. And
watching all the people go by, teasing everybody and making fun of all the foolishness, and checking out the hot chicks.
The bouncies. I like
the bouncies. Yeah, it's been a good day despite the rain. And
it's gone now, by the way.
It's a little drip from the trees, but the sun's back out, and it's not even 8 o'clock yet. The horrors of living in the woods on your motorcycle we've been experiencing today, but it hasn't been that bad, right?
I'm gonna have to give some serious decompression to it later and thinking about it. It's been brutal, but I'm gonna make it work.
I'm gonna have to call my therapist.
I'm gonna have to talk to him.
Despite the fact that we were right next to a very busy highway that led into the town of Victor, we were right next to this wonderful creek, and the din of the rushing water pretty much balanced out the noise coming from the highway. And most of the time after dark, the traffic dissipated anyway. So it was a nice little spot, very convenient, very close to town, and nice weather mostly. A little bit of rain that caused a few problems, but yeah, we spent 2 or 3 nights here. Went into town, got everything we needed, including beer and food, and I did some laundry, and hung out with this guy. I just really like Victor. It's a very small town. It's very touristy, which means it's kind of pricey, but yeah, it was a nice experience, and we loaded up the next morning and hoping Richard would ramp his Harley like he did a couple of days earlier. But of course, I never get the good stuff on film. Jumping Harleys just never show up on film for me, sadly. But yeah, we rolled out and headed north into West Yellowstone, which I didn't even know was a thing. It's actually a town, and a magnificent drive up through part of Yellowstone I didn't even know existed. So join us for the next episode of One-Legged Dude Rides a 900-pound Harley in the Dirt.